couple of years. They consume your life. Jason Bailey is in for a heck of a ride if he sees us all the way through. The NHL will put a lot of pressure on the Ducks just to make this go away and to get it settled. So I would be surprised to see this go to trial. If he got some money, I don't know how much it could be. It could be, $500,000. It could be more. It could be less. It really depends on what we see. But what I suspect, Tony, is even if this case settles, it'll be one of those rare cases that if it settles, I suspect it will still be part of the conversation. We will still talk about this case a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now.
In conversation with Eric Marinaro, an Ottawa-based lawyer who writes a blog on the law and sports, Offside, I think it's offsidesportsblog.blogspot.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, if that's a long one, because that's what Google makes me use. So I've just registered sportslawblog.ca, and I just hyperlinked it there. Or go to the Team 1200 and click on my ugly mug. Okay. And it takes you to my blog.
Long story short, whether he wins or not, this young man could very well be blackballed.
Well,
he's playing in Binghamton right now, but don't be surprised if all of a sudden this guy's career starts to spiral downward. I mean, we've seen stuff like that happen before, right?
Oh, yeah, Tony. I mean, I know Jason, and he is a nice guy. But this is the kind of situation that could result in a player not hearing from that player again. The hockey culture is pretty tight, and, this could have repercussions on his professional career. So it's a tough one for him, I guess.
Then again, this young man may have never played in the National Hockey League. And if he ends up winning this case, he'll probably end up making more money than he would if he played minor hockey the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean, he's 23 years old, so the clock is ticking on his career. He's sort of a third, fourth line kind of guy. He's sort of a plumber. He's got the build of a sort of a bodybuilder. He has that kind of physical makeup. So maybe the clock is ticking on him. What I find interesting is the timing of this lawsuit, Tony. We're approaching the 1-year anniversary of Brendan Burke's passing. And, in that situation, he was a pioneer for tolerance with respect to gays in sports. And here we are approaching that, and we have another discussion about tolerance.
Okay, so how about in terms of the timing? Why did it take him this long? Was he looking into this with his lawyers before they said, yeah, we have a case here? Because this happened a while ago. I mean, why now?
Well, you have 2 years to sue from the last wrong if you're dealing with a human rights violation, for example.
Okay.
So you have some time to consider it. Lawsuits are extremely serious. They consume your life from top to bottom, and it can be a couple of years. They can be very expensive, although his lawyers may be working on a contingency basis, so they'll take a percentage if it settles or if it goes to trial and they get an award. But I suspect they were thinking about it quite carefully and evaluating where is Jason in his hockey career now, because maybe they were sensitive to the fact that if he files a lawsuit against the NHL, what team will pick him up in the future?
Appreciate you taking the time. If you were a betting man, how's this going to go for him?
Well, whenever I bet, I lose.
Okay.
But I guess when it comes to these situations, if I were to bet, my best estimate is this case will settle. We're not going to hear a lot about it, I think, moving forward. There'll be a lot of pressure on the Ducks to get this settled. This is just this is a PR nightmare for the NHL. So I suspect it's going to settle, and we won't hear much more about it maybe a month from now or so.
So Gary Bettman and Bill Daly are going to say, guys, the last thing we're doing is going to court. So do what you got to do, and if the NHL has to help out, the NHL has to help out. But this thing is not going to court. We're not at a point in time right now in our league where this is the kind of press that we need.
Yeah, I mean, we have all these struggling teams in the U.S. We have huge problems on our plate. Let's just make this go away, please.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Pleasure, Tony.
Talk to you soon. All right, there you have it. Eric Marinaro, Ottawa-based lawyer, sportslawblog.ca.